how much longer before like the alien, like the acknowledgement of aliens living among us will be.
How much longer before they acknowledge it?
Yeah.
Well, I thought that we already had.
There's a new.
I saw a movie with Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
they were there.
Yeah, well, there's
that's what it was called too, right?
It's called the movie with Roddy.
There.
It's called that movie with Roddy Piper. No, so there's a new like a NASA whistleblower. Oh, it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Anyway. Hey, everybody, this is Matt. We're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thank you for joining us for our 1 hour Primetime Guitar Live, where we talk about what it's like to be me and Chris. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
Basically, yeah, that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah. Before we jump in, though, Chris, I want to thank Brian Duncan, who gave us a super chat way before this all started.
Oh, really?
He gave us $50. Yeah, because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. So thank you guys for joining us.
And drink some tequila.
You know what? He does.
He does, yeah.
We have been, tomorrow is Friday. You know what I'm going to be doing all day tomorrow? You know what I'm going to be doing most of the day tomorrow?
No.
I'm going to be spraying sealer tomorrow.
Super fun.
So if you are the person who buys this guitar, you will know that Chris probably painted the color coat, whatever that, I don't know what it's going to be, and the top coat, but I will be the person who sprayed the sealer on this. I am also the one who did the hand rubbed pore filler, which of course all pore filler. Hand rubbed pore filler. That is not a feature, by the way. But I think this is a cool guitar. So I'm going to spray sealer there, and I'm going to probably do 4 rounds of sealer tomorrow. One on, I've got like 3 or 4 or 5 set neck guitars to do, and one with a bunch of bolt-on neck, just bodies. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably shoot like the set neck ones, or neck through in this case, and then wait an hour, go in and do the bodies, then go back in another hour and do the ones with the necks attached again, then wait another hour and do the ones with the just the body. It's going to be a whirlwind of sealing. What do you think about that? Is that a dumb idea or a good idea?
It depends on how many you have.
A buttload.
Yeah. A real buttload.
Yeah, a lot. What do you think? What do you think of this guitar?
Well, sir? I like it. I looked at it. I haven't looked at it since you put the pore filler on it, and I see you scuffed it back. So.
No, I didn't actually. You know what happened? There were some scratches that I missed.
Yeah.
And I sanded those back.
Oh. You're
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the cool thing about pore filler is it gives you an idea of what it's gonna look like with finish, an idea. So if there's any scratches, you can go, oh crap, I missed. Because sometimes you can't see them.
Done.
I love the way that thing looks. I think it's rad.
Yeah, so. the walnut is pretty nifty. I like walnut.
I do too.
Applications.
What I wanted to buy for this,
not too much walnut.
Yeah. What I wanted to buy for this was actually a zebra wood, but I couldn't find any where I went.
Yeah.
Not
Home
that
Depot didn't have any.
No.
I also didn't have any walnut, so I had to go someplace that had walnut.
Doc wants to know, do you completely disassemble and clean a gun between coats of sealer? Is he talking about like my Ruger 1022?
Yeah. You shooting sealer through that?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
What happens if you don't?
Well, it gets hard and it ruins the gun.
You're throwing guns away.
30 minutes, digging that crap out. So what we do with our guns is we disassemble them. We clean the body of the gun really well, and all the parts. But we keep all that stuff wet in lacquer thinner. We have a jar of lacquer thinner, so we keep the air cap and the other thing, the orifice. I forget what they call that. Anyway, all of that stuff in lacquer thinner, and that way it doesn't accidentally get hard. Because sometimes, despite your best cleaning efforts, there's just enough sealer to muck stuff up. Yeah, and it gets gummy and weird, and yeah.
Now, if you do that, Chris, let me guess, spray guns for sealer will last forever.
Yes, they will. or they will last a little while, but they'll last longer.
Yeah.
Doing it our way.
If you had to guess, how many applications of sealer would you say we could get per spray gun because we have a one spray rig gun that we use specifically for sealer, nothing else. How long would you say that lasts?
238 applications. No, I don't know.
I would say it's 30 or 40.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
These aren't $500 guns either.
No, they're fairly basic guns from Amazon, and I don't know, they last. It's sometimes you do really well, and sometimes not so good. But you don't have to feel too bad about it.
But what I can tell you is, if you spray lots of stuff, so if you have one round of, well, let's say that your particular spray gun that you're using has a finite lifespan of, I don't know, 25 sprays with sealer. Even if you do your best to clean, I'm not saying that it's that, but let's just say that it is.
It's a nice number.
Yeah. So, but if you spray one guitar each time you spray, then you have a lot less guitars per gun. But if you spray 4 or 5 or 8, then you get, every time that you use the gun that only lasts 25 applications, that you see where I'm going with this. So, okay. Anyway, so so that's so I'm going to be spraying sealer tomorrow, and I'm going to be bending sides, I think. Right?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Don't know why you wouldn't be bending sides.
Why don't you tell everyone why I'll be bending sides while I put this away?
I don't know why you're going to be bending sides, because you have a secret project.
I do.
Top secret, and we can't talk about it.
We can talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
It's Chris and I have been working on a new semi-hollow, all the way hollow, right? And so, as you guys may know, if you follow me on, if you're a Patreon member or a YouTube member, you've gotten videos of me bending sides, and we made a new side bending mold.
We are, in the process of making a new shape.
We came up with a new shape. Yeah.
Side bending jig. Yeah.
So,
I mean, first one done today. We have 3 more to go.
Yeah. So that's going to be really cool.
I got some CNC machine.
I got some really neat mahogany that I'm going to try, but I got some, if you're Kevin Kaloje, some really neat rosewood to try. So
really good rosewood. So,
okay.
It's actually really cool.
It is really good.
Didn't I? Yeah.
It is.
It's like, wow, this is neat. And then I looked at that, and it's like, it's all sized and it's thin, and it's like, I wonder if you could like do a rosewood laminate neck with this stuff. I wonder how I could bend this stuff around a 10-degree radius.
There's a lot of questions about spraying. Tom L says you can replace nozzles, needles, and chips. So guns. Yeah, sure. Yeah, go nuts. I wouldn't do, like, why would you do that though?
Well,
like with a $35 spray gun.
Yeah, that's about what we pay for these things. So it's just not worth it. And we probably get, I don't know, 20 or 30 or 40.
It depends.
Rounds of stuff at least with them. So we always have a couple in stock, ready to go.
If you value your time such that cleaning out stuff and replacing parts makes sense to you, then by all means do that.
Yeah. And I would do that on a really expensive gun. But
yeah, of course.
Always.
Yeah.
They're pretty basic. It's the spray gun equivalent of a squirt bottle.
Yeah, just they're not that expensive.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are wondering what thoughts on sprayers for your limited life gun. Oh no, he doesn't. He says thoughts and sprayers, not thoughts and prayers. That's funny. Okay, Brian Duncan sent us another gigantic super chat. Wants to know, where's Phil? I don't know if he means my cousin Phil or this guy I used to know back in the Navy, Phil, who I haven't seen him for over 3 decades. But yeah. Anyway, gang, mostly because Phil Foley wasn't in the Navy. He was in the Marine Corps, and I wasn't in the Navy at all. And Phil Foley actually was in the French Foreign Legion. But anyhow, you might know him as Paul Franchot. Anyhow, so Chris, we have a very exciting topic today. That's all real, by the way.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a very exciting topic today. And it's not based on any of this, just kind of like I just plucked it out of thin air, a couple of them. And one of them is, Chris, you just inherited $5,000.
Okay.
What guitar do you buy? And I would like to know what you think. I would like to know what you guys think. I'll even tell you what I think. And yeah. So, you know what? But I changed it. It actually, the new thing is, what guitar does Phil McKnight say you should buy? Now, the reason that I said, what guitar do you think Phil McKnight would say you should buy, is because Phil McKnight has a very broad reach. He reaches a lot of people, and what he says, people take as I mean, he's an honest guy, so people can take his word as gospel. So they're like, if Phil McKnight says the Brand X, new for 2023, yada yada yada, is worth $5,000, you can take that to the bank. People know that. So yeah. So what guitar do you think Phil McKnight would say you should buy with your you have $5,000 of discretionary income? What guitar do you get? What do you think Phil McKnight would say that is?
I don't know.
Okay. What do you guys think?
Pass.
All right. What I think Phil McKnight would say is, I think he would say one of the new Texas Toast ultralight carved tops, because gang, you cannot, I know that's cheating because Phil McKnight hasn't seen one yet.
Really? Yeah.
And actually all the ones that we had last week are all gone.
Yeah.
Bobby, Doug, and I think Daryl, they're all gone. They're like in Derek.
I think
There
might have been Daryl. I think it was Derek.
I think so. So they're boxed up. We had cases for them. We had boxes. We put them in cases. We put them in boxes. We shot them out the door, and they're whisking away to.
Some of them might
all
have gotten
over.
There. Might have got it there.
The one's going to Florida. One's going to Kansas.
I would think the Bob,
Missouri, and one's going to Arizona. Yeah. So they are going all over the place.
Oh, Arizona and Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually 2 days.
Doc Silton sent us a super chat. He says $5,000
for $400,000. Is that what he says?
$500. Yeah.
So yeah,
$38. I'm coming out to your shop to make something cool. That's a great thing. Yeah.
$5,000. Well, yeah, I guess that counts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take 2 classes.
Yep. Let's put a pin in that and come back to that, because Tom L says the better question is, do you get 5 $1,000 prostitutes? If you're talking about guitars, there shall be no more $1,000 prostitutes. If for those of you who got in on that act when I first started doing those, you got good deals. I can't do them for that money anymore. I just can't. So,
so I think these rules should be maximum $5,000. Any leftover money you don't get to keep.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
So you can spend all of
$5,000. So you can't say
$2,000. You're giving up $3,000.
And you can't say, "Ooh, I want 85 Squire things," or I
would
want
buy a guitar and an amp probably.
But that's not that's not a thing. Yeah.
Rules, so I'm not going to say
so,
that.
Chris, you have amended this to be even better,
even harder than I thought it should be.
So you get your great aunt Gertrude. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
She was a nice lady.
She's like an aunt to me.
She gave you $5,000 with this kind of kooky caveat that you could, whatever you didn't spend goes to the cats.
Set on fire. Yeah.
Okay,
flush down the toilet.
So what do you buy? All right.
I still don't know. I'd have to do some shopping. I haven't shopped for a $5,000 guitar in quite a while.
All right.
Plus, there's the answer I should give, and there's the answer.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you what Sean Joyne said. He says, for that amount, I'm on my way back to TTG for another class. I think that's absolutely
and I think that's a legit
thing.
I think that's a legit expenditure, and I think you should be able to write off the whole thing.
I think you should too.
Towards that
yeah.
$5,000.
You know what? It's my show. if you can do it.
Yeah.
You can spend it all.
Thanks, Aunt Gertrude. Yeah, vacation and a guitar. There
Grudgemeyer says that he's with Doc on that one, where he's out to Texas Toast to build something cool. Let's see. What do other people say? Kimber Rapide Black Ice guitars. I'm not 100% sure what that is. Is that what Dylan has been talking about? The carbon fiber acoustics?
I don't know. Oh, maybe.
Tom L says probably a 72 Les Paul. Not that it's a special year, but I've always wanted one for my birth year. You know, the last time my friend Brett, who plays guitar in Hawk Attack, is also born in 1972. The last time we looked at 72 Les Pauls, that's been over a decade ago. They were right around 5 then. I bet you they're more now. I don't know.
I was looking at birth year guitars and I settled on an 85 Kramer.
Okay, yeah. Because you were born in 1985. All right.
Yeah, 92 Mexican Strat.
Cool, dude. Yeah. So the reason that we invoked Phil McKnight's name is because somebody told me that he kind of doesn't scour the YouTube or the internet.com for this stuff, but he says that if his name is dropped, he likes to watch the video. So maybe Phil will call me and let me know. Maybe he'll pop in. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. Yeah. Do you
have that kind of time?
Phil is he. I don't know who talks more, he or I, but when he and I get on the phone together, it's usually a long, fun conversation. I really like Phil McKnight a lot. Mike Mars wants to know, not on topic, but what size Allen wrench is needed for the Hipshot bridge saddles on my JJJ Challenger? I think that's a 16th.
I think it's a metric size.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's small.
We should look that up. We could look right now.
I can go and grab you the wrench.
No, we have the look. I have Matt's toolkit right here. Know how I know it's Matt's toolkit? Because it says right here.
I actually have that one loaded up in my tool right now.
Dylan says it's a 15. Is a Knights Armament SR15 a guitar? No, sir, it's not. And I like the Knights Armament SR15 quite a bit, but not as much as I like the SR10. Oh, it's an 05. 0.05. Okay.
Millimeter Allen wrench.
Dylan, I think you can get a lot more rifle from any number of people, LMT, than you get from Knights Armament. And well, let's just say that there's outsourcing and there's outsourcing. So, okay.
I'm gonna go put this back, or else I'll forget where it is tomorrow.
So I'm glad that Dylan is here, because I have something that I want to talk to him about, and I need to remind him to remind me that there's something. We have it on the board. We have some new stuff coming out, and I need to know how much involvement he wants to have in this, because I know he's going to want to do it. It's all pickup stuff, and I think he's going to dig it. Remember that thing we talked about today? The new. Actually, I'm not even going to say what it is. I can't even say what it is. I can't even say any of it. But I will say this: there's some new Texas Toast guitars coming out. You guys are all going to want one. If you had $5,000, or if you had however much they're going to cost, you would buy this one, because they're that cool. Can we tell anything about them? Okay. Can we say what they're not?
They're not Strats.
They're not Strats.
They're not Tellys.
They're not Tellys. Okay. Oh, and they're 24 3/4 scale.
Mm-hmm.
They're not 25.5-inch scale.
Nope.
And they may or may what pickups will they have?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Chris is not going to. Well, will they have pickups or pickup?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Chris is not kicking down, you guys.
No.
And I'm going to defer to him, because when he said that I need to kind of play my cards close to my vest, I said that's a great idea. And as soon as we get on the camera, I start blabbing.
Yeah. And then we're gonna yeah.
So they're gonna be guitars that are not Strats or Tellys. They're gonna have pickups or pickup, and they're gonna be not Fender scale.
Correct.
All right. And we want to talk with Dylan about making some more. All right. So anyways, hey, Dylan's actually coming out here pretty soon. I know it's in August, but I think it's early August. It's the August. No. Anyway, Dylan's coming out in August, and that's not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're not quite to the middle of June yet, but we're getting damn close.
Yeah, August is 7th through 11th, so that is early August.
7th through the 11th. Okay.
Yeah. 7-11.
I can tell you that the guitars that Chris and I are talking about are in fact not banjos; they are guitars.
Correct. 6-string guitars,
and they are not 0.5 millimeter; they are 0.05 millimeter. That's right. That's the wrench size. It's a little.
It says 05 on the thing. I don't know whether that
maybe it's 50 thousandths. You know what? It could be that
50 thousandths. Usually they do fractions. Let's see what it says in the.
Yeah, let's see.
It could be. I don't think it's an American size.
I think it might be. Well, you know what? It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't have one of these StewMac toolkits, I didn't put this down as the StewMac tool of the day, but I've done it in the past. Get one and adjust every guitar that you have. Because is there any guitar you can't adjust with this?
No.
That can be adjusted?
Correct.
You're not going to be able to adjust the saddle on your acoustic thing, but
right.
You knew that. So
yeah, you see.
All right.
Okay. This one doesn't say "don't fuck with."
No, it does. It just says Matt's tool. Yeah. Notice how it's got all the pieces.
Yeah, I know, and they're all in order.
Yeah, I try to keep it that way.
Sort of
yeah.
Annoying.
Okay. Todd is right. Dylan now does have Firebird pickups, and we have some Firebirds that I think Dylan and I are going to work with on coming up in the future. My toolkit doesn't say Matt's. Well, I hope it doesn't. I hope it says Dave's. So thank you, Dave.
Usually they say StewMac. You should have put that over the top.
I know I should have, but I wanted everyone to know that this was the StewMac toolkit. Okie doke. All right, gang. There's a bunch of people ballyhooing back and forth about sizes.
About sizes of wrench.
Sure, why not?
That's what it says. And then there's
they're going to drop trowel and measure,
and then there's a 16th and a yeah.
All right.
It's the little tiny one.
It's the wee one. I think it's the 50 thousandths one. I really do.
Okay.
You know what? And if it's not, sue me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. Oh, that's a bad sue me.
That also fits some Asian stuff that I have. That's all.
Fine. Yeah. Use the proper range. It's
fun thing about
smaller than a 16.
Yes, when you get to the small ones, you can't fake it. Like you can fake a 1/4 inch with a 6 millimeter. You can't do that with the little tiny ones. They just don't. It either fits or it doesn't fit.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Tom L says, just saying, if you made a separate channel with firearm content, I would watch. Tom, I think you'd be the only one who would watch. I have to field a lot of questions about, how I could be such a horrible person and own a firearm. I have a lot of people who watch in Europe, and it's a different culture there. I've been around firearms for many, many, many years, and I've worked for places that I worked for magazines that did specifically firearms content. I worked for magazines that did. I've done a bunch of that stuff. The fact of the matter is, though, that nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear stories about me and Jeff Cooper, and nobody wants to hear stories about me and Clint Smith, and nobody wants to hear stories about me and Peter Kokalis. Or Pat Rogers, or no one wants to hear that stuff. So anyway, okay. So Chris, let's get back on topic here. Let's talk a little bit about if you were going to buy a Texas Toast guitar. First of all, I can't think of any Texas Toast guitar that's a standard model that you couldn't buy for considerably less than $5,000.
Yeah.
What if you were going to buy one,
a Texas Toast guitar?
If you were going to make a Texas Toast guitar for yourself,
get a discount?
Sure, you can get a 50 thousandths discount.
Yeah.
You can get a 5 millimeter discount. Okay, all right. So so you were going to build one for you. Which one would you build?
Well, we've been talking about that, and I don't know. I think it's probably going to be a carved top. I can't decide if it's thick or thin. I think thick.
Okay.
But beyond that, I haven't really thought a whole lot about it.
Okay. You and I have talked about one of the things that you want is a talent bar, a whammy bar.
Yeah.
But you don't like strat trims.
No.
But you want a carve top.
Yeah.
And
things start getting tricky right around there. So I haven't quite figured that part out.
Yeah.
But I'll figure it out.
Okay. Robert, maybe if you come to one of the workshops, I'll tell you all about every time that I spent with Colonel Jeff Cooper. In fact, I'll tell you one right now. I was in Vegas and I was drinking with Jeff Cooper, and I was like, Colonel, what do you have? And I was like, I was under 30. I was under 30 years old. This was 1998, 97. And I had I had a gin and tonic, like a glass of ice, and it was all clear. And Cooper goes, Dos Equis and a double tequila. And I'm like, God, my drink is so not cool compared to this old guy. So
it's not like you were drinking a pink squirrel.
I might as well have been. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Pepto-Bismol chaser, but yeah. Jeffrey Egan says, if I was going to spend $5,000 on a guitar, it would probably be a hollow or a semi-hollow guitar. Well, sir, I may have something for you one day very soon.
Yep. I
hope that I do. Stories are a riot. They're not as funny as Louis Auerbach stories, though, or Bob Brown, because Clint Smith is he kind of plays his cards close to his vest too. At least he did with me. Anyway, okay. So
what? Should be on live chat.
I am on live chat. No. Oh no, I'm on top chat. Okay.
There'll be way more chat.
Holy mackerel. I'm missing a bunch of
that. Yeah, you're probably missing all sorts of good stuff.
I think I missed a super chat from Brian Duncan.
Another one?
I think he wants to know that if I did a gun channel, he would just put poop emojis. I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Gun channels on YouTube are not, it's not a friendly place for that. So
no, just ask Dan.
Just
Thompson,
ask, yeah.
Whose channel is basically guitars now.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hard to monetize a gun channel.
Yeah, I think so.
Black Dog Sheep says, so is the Surprise a hollow body Challenger?
No.
I can guarantee you that it is not. Now, there was a time when we talked about doing that. We even kind of
played around with
danced around, played around, and it just never
honestly,
really quite.
We have semi-hollow ones, like full on semi-hollow, not a bunch of bullshit holes drilled in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're chambered.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we have that guitar now. We
do.
We have carved tops of those, and we have flat tops
of those. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the perfect. I think a lot of people don't actually know what all's going on with Challenger.
We should probably put on the website a picture of what the Challenger looks like before the top gets glued on.
we could do a video of that too, and be like, in the olden times,
this was
a slab of stuff, and then we glue a maple top on it because it looked pretty. But now, there's all sorts of other stuff going on with those things. So and I also like to talk about our guitars in the singular, meaning plural. Like when we talk about Challenger, it's Challenger. We've been doing great with Challenger.
Okay. How many models?
Challenger. Yeah.
We are.
Let's revisit Challenger this week.
That's right. There's I remember a time when Paul Reed Smith had one model. And it was that one model for many, many, many years. And I think you could get it with a maple top, and I think you could get it without, and I think you could get it with birds, and I think you could get it without. But other than that, that was the guitar. So, okay.
Let's talk about PRS.
Let's talk about
not
PRS.
Really the same. When you say that, yeah.
So
Challenger, we've been doing great with Challenger.
We have been doing great.
How's Challenger doing for you?
Have you ever owned a Paul Reed Smith guitar, whether it's an American one or an SE?
No.
I've owned 3 or 4, and you know what my favorite one was it was a McCarty rosewood. That meant that it had a rosewood fretboard. It also had a rosewood neck, and I loved that guitar. I would like to make a Challenger with a rosewood neck one day. It would be a carved top, full bodied. It'd be a thick one that would be all hollow. So as light as I could get it, but with a rosewood neck. I even have a rosewood blank back there, ready to go. I wonder if that guitar maybe that will be the guitar that I build for me one day.
There you go.
Maybe. All right.
There's been lots of guitars that were for you that didn't end up for you.
Yep.
With you.
Jeffrey Egan has a good question, Chris. He wants to know, is a Tele Thinline a legit hollow body guitar?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, they're all hogged out.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. In its own limited way, I think so.
Okay. Brian, we're going to get to you here in just a moment. It's about time. But Daryl Hazelwood asks, is the Carb Top Challenger's contour unique? Is it shaped like a Les Paul? That's another great question. Do we have one floating around?
Well, yeah, we have lots of them.
Do we have one that's the current iteration of Carb Top?
Oh, you don't want any of that.
How about that one with the binding? And we've got some reveals tonight too, guys, which I want to show you. But what's that? Okay. So the Challenger Carb Top is of course unique to the Challenger because the Challenger is kind of offset. You'll notice that this cutaway here is more aggressive than this cutaway here. The reason for that is so that when I designed this, I wanted it to fit on your leg nicely. And I think that offset guitars are cool. So you couldn't just plop a Les Paul one on here and have it work out right. The other thing is it's a little narrower through here than a Les Paul is, because when I designed it originally, it wasn't. But at the time I had tools that were 13 and this was actually a little wider than 13. So I had to redesign it, and this distance is different too. And since the bridge is different, so no, it's really not like you can't just take a Les Paul carve and superimpose it onto a Challenger. But on the other hand, the Carb Top is not unlike a Challenger in that it is a bell carve. So it comes down and then back up again and does so in, all the different axes here. So the neck angle is different from a Les Paul. So it's not
affects the carve,
as you better than anybody knows. Yeah, all of that stuff starts to play into it. So
starts to add up. It
wasn't like we could just say, let's just put a Les Paul carve on the Challenger and hope that it works out. We could say that, but the reality is that it wouldn't have worked out. So, okay. Brad Guitar Miller says, sounds like a Myths with Chris episode. The Challenger Tele or is the Challenger a Tele or Les Paul? And most of us know that's a great one for Myths with Chris. Mm-hmm. Okay, Chris. So we're going to switch gears here a little bit. And gosh, Daryl, yeah, it's made with the Duplicarver here in the shop. Okay. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about what the best city to start a new guitar shop is in the United States. Now, don't take this to mean that I'm thinking about moving, but don't not take it to mean that either. Okay. Because I don't know what's going to happen, right? You don't know what's going to happen. If just for the sake of conversation, not because I'm thinking about doing this, but if I decided to pick up shop and move to an all new city, what city is the best one to start a new guitar shop in?
I'm going to go with Terre Haute, Indiana.
That's a good one. Brad Guitar Miller sent us a super chat letting us know that guitar is beautiful. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Brad Hutchings says Rancho Santa Monica or Santa Margarita. Lauren Court says Phoenix. Galaxy says Katy, Texas, Sarasota, Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Come to Dogtown, Matt. I'll take you drinking at the beach. Nashville, Tennessee toast. Hell yeah, not far from Sweetwater. Dastardly Dave says there's a good gun shop in Terre Haute. Brian says Centennial. Okay.
Centennial.
Todd wants to know, am I asking about a guitar building shop or a guitar retail store? Well, I tell you what, if I had it to do over again, I would want to have a retail store too.
Yeah.
But just for the stuff we make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is manned full time by, I don't know, somebody who like we could like poach someone from an art gallery or from Nick Fouquet's hat shop, and yeah, we could do that, and then they could be, you know, like it could be like wood floor and yeah. So wouldn't that be something? Where could that
4
happen?
guitars on the wall.
Oh, one of
Not
every
even on the
model.
wall in the middle of the room.
Yeah, that's right.
A bunch of
And like a lady in
ancillary
like a
stuff around
slinky
the
kind of
outside.
outfit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pony.
Yeah. And if
Pony.
if you ask to play it, you're asked to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we
otherwise-
do. Yeah. Yeah. It's because it's not going to be like Guitar Center. I don't want a bunch of like, you know, 15-year-old kids playing Sweet Child O' Mine in my boutique retail store.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
in Aspen.
In
I don't want
yeah,
that.
Yeah. $30,000 a month rent. Yeah.
So yeah. You know, a lot of people have said that we need to move to Texas. We need to move to Austin. We need to move to, no one said Beaumont, but you get it. Would you, what would you think, Chris, if we had a retail outlet, not an outlet, because a retail boutique, boutique,
Yep.
because we're boutique guitar builders.
We are. Yeah. I'd like to see that in one of the fancier casinos in Vegas.
Okay.
Kind of like, Corey Hart's tattoo shop.
Ooh, that sounds
Yeah.
cool. Okay. I love the idea of a Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, everybody is no, you can't play Stairway because you can't play it. You can't play the guitars. Man, near Seven Valleys. I don't know where. Yeah, we could have a whiskey bar and like one of those. We could have. I don't know. If it's in Vegas, anything could go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gambling and guitars. G&G.
Todd says people need to stop moving to Phoenix. It's one big strip mall now. Plus, they're not going to have any water. I hear that. Yeah. The Tequila Bar and Topless Waitress says, we have a similar. There's so many people now in Colorado that it's unrecognizable to me as when I moved here however many years ago.
Yeah. It's hard to make moves at this point here.
Yeah.
You know, I was watching the video the other day, and some well-known guitar company bought a new building and moved their operations, and the building cost them like $130,000.
Where was that?
Nashville, I think.
Nashville?
Memphis. Yeah, someplace in Tennessee. Not someplace I'd want to go, and usually that's the catch. But not that those places are bad. It's just, you know,
they're humid.
Yeah, and I'm not a humid boy. Yeah, I've been dried out for way too long.
All right, let's see what's going on in the chat section here. Tom L says there are 15 American cities named Texas. Plenty of options with no name change required. You know, that's a great one, Tom. And in fact, we've been Texas Toast ever since we've been in Colorado.
Yeah,
it was not like we moved from Texas
you
and
were
then
ever in Texas with Texas Toast.
No,
there was talk of moving to Texas at one point.
Yep,
there was an opportunity, and yeah, that opportunity changed.
That's right. Corey asks a question that is a downright excellent one.
Corey Forgrave?
Yes, he says,
Corey.
In the $5,000 Strat class, is the pickguard a direct replica as well, 8-screw, or will it be the modern 11? That is a terrific question for Dylan. I think you can do either one.
The issue and make them. Yeah, you can do either one.
What do you say?
Well, if you're doing single ply, I always like 8.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, you can do either one. You could also bring your own pick guard. No, actually, Dylan is supplying the pick guards too. Oh yeah, but what I mean is, yeah, you could, if whatever he decides is. But I personally think if it's a single ply pick guard, it needs to have 8 holes. Okay. If it's 3 ply, it needs to have 11. So we really need to find out what number of plies people want so that they get the pick guard that they want, or the number of holes that they want. Mm-hmm. Dylan says that we can do 8-screw. What
what if you had a 3-ply and it had 8 screw? Is that
That would
okay?
be fine too. Yeah, I wouldn't.
That way,
that.
everybody,
Yeah.
if you want 3-ply, I don't. Okay, so we should probably get
I want 15 and a half screws in my pick guard. I want one every inch.
Okay.
All the way around like rivets.
You can add screws.
Yeah.
It's hard to take away screws.
It really
so,
is. Yeah.
Okay. Steve Soba says, late, $5,000, a carb top and back Challenger TT Strat with controls lowered around the radius close to the jack. And yes, about the humidity, stay there. We have never made that guitar. That would be, you'd spend every bit of $5,000 to get us to make that one.
Yeah.
Carved top and back Strat with a bunch of cuckoo controls on it. That would be, yeah. Dastardly Dave says, don't use the crappy screws. So anyway, yeah, that's a good question.
Don't do it.
Good point.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
So Chris, have you ever thought about moving from Colorado?
Yeah, I have. There was a time when I was looking semi-seriously into Nebraska, just because my sister lives there, and on the outside it looks like an economical place to live.
Yeah.
I don't ultimately think it's as economical as I thought it was going to be.
If you and I were to pick up this shop and deposit it somewhere, it would have to be somewhere where there was an airport nearby.
So that
people need
to
to fly here to come to the workshops.
And that's actually something that I've thought about, because there's other places in Colorado that I wouldn't mind living. That I think we could do what we do now, but the airport is it's another flight basically.
The more you have to change planes, the more of a bummer that is.
Like it would be a bummer to have to hop a puddle jumper to Grand Junction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Curtis Chavez asks, is there an advantage of doing an Esquire type using the switch versus just putting volume and tone, or just volume knob? Yeah, Curtis, that's a great question. And there are lots of reasons to do both. Because the Esquire has one pickup in the bridge, which gives you a really clean look on the front. I really like it. But using the standard control plate gives you some advantages, that some switching options that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you could go with just a volume. You could just go with a plate. Like you could get a blank plate and just drill a hole and put a volume knob.
Yep, you can do that. One of the neat things about the Esquire wiring is one of the options is just volume, no tone. And there's a little bit of difference there.
Isn't there one where it's like I want to say the standard Esquire wiring is standard volume and tone work. One where the tone is all the way up and one where the tone is all the way off.
Not
something
completely like that. There's one that the tone knob isn't there at all. It's
okay.
just directly volume out.
Okay.
There's one where the tone knob works like a tone knob. And then there's another one where the tone knob still works, but there's also it's kind of a bass cut thing. So it's that cocked wah sound.
Okay.
Not really, but it's kind of a bass cut. So
if you put the tone in the middle and just use the switch, you could get 3 very different sounds just by using the switch.
Yeah. And even with the tone all the way up, the difference between that position and the only volume, depending on the amp, you can hear a difference there.
Now, one of the cool things that you can do with an Esquire, and that you can't really do it with that the 3-way switch, or can you? Is you can tap the coil. Now, what do I mean when I say tap the coil? A lot of people think that 2 humbuckers and then you split those into one is tapping it. That ain't it. Tapping the coil actually means you're taking one coil, and it's round and around and around, and then you have a wire going off, and that's one coil, and then you pick it back up again and round and around and around and around and around and go back out. So you have a coil that could be, say, 7K, and then but on the same coil, you have a continuation, and it equals, I don't know, let's say 14. Kind of like the Seymour Duncan quarter pounder custom shop quarter pounder telly pickup, which you, by the way, can get from Dylan if you ask really, really nicely, I think. So that's could you actually work the tap with a standard 3-way switch? You could?
Yeah, I'd use a 4-way switch.
Okay.
But,
what would you get with the 4 different ways?
Well, so I'd do it as a regular Esquire and then plus the coil tap thing.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe Caswell's here. Hi, Joe. Joe actually stopped by.
Switch.
We had to go out. We had some errands to run today, but it was good to see Joe again. That was fun.
Yep.
Chris Hendricks says Johnny Switchblade ain't got no controls, and he's damn right.
That's right. Yeah. Johnny Switchblade ain't got time for volume control.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Dylan says that they're about to do a video on coil tapping, P90s. Actually, he says that it's 2 separate things. Maybe a tappable P90. Although I was wondering if he was asking me about P90s, but I have questions for him about P90s for this thing that we want to do coming up. So, guys, if you want to, and I strongly urge all 107 of you to go over to Dylan's channel.
Woo! Get it together, man.
Get it together, man. I want to have you guys go over and talk with Dylan because there is a misnomer, and I'm a stickler for language and misnomers. If you say one thing thinking it's another, then you just sound silly. So somebody actually called me out on that. I called kerfed lining kerfing the other day, and he said, it's actually kerfed lining, and I'm like, all right, fine. But it's tapping a coil is not taking a humbucker and using one coil.
It's splitting.
That's right. So,
and really, it's not even splitting a coil; it's splitting a humbucker.
It's splitting a humbucker. Yeah, you're tapping a coil, splitting a humbucker.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Misnomer was my first grade teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what we can do? We can show off some soul poles.
Sure.
While we have a few more minutes to go. All right, I'm going to get them.
Yeah. They're not completely done.
Tell us what's not done on them.
They don't have knobs. Yeah, bring them both over.
I'm gonna.
Hand me that one.
Got it.
I don't know why I felt like I needed to oomph myself.
There's radio silence, Chris. Start talking.
There is radio silence. I was just, because sometimes you don't need a bunch of blather. You just need to be able to see what's going on.
However, I like to have these be friendly for people who are driving. You know why? Because I listen to this kind of stuff when I'm driving. So
I don't know how to do that, so I don't do it.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, for those of you driving, we apologize for the lack in
silence.
Okay. And we will try and describe these for you. So these are a couple of soul pole bases that we did for our good friends Doug Santaniello and Doc Siltonen. So this one is Doug's, and this one is Doc's.
Yep.
Okay. So what do we got here, Chris? And why are we showing them off today? See, Sean Joint's driving. He knows because.
Why are we showing them off? Well, I don't know why we're showing them off today. Because we got other stuff to show off tomorrow.
We do.
These are soul poles, fabric tops, both of them.
These are really cool.
Color matched backs. They're bound. Maple necks, Wangy fretboards, I believe. On
You're
both
right.
Of these.
You're right.
Yep. Fun treatments on the headstocks.
Yeah. So Doc wanted his to be a matching color with black on the headstock, and then the little step to be the same matching color. Doug wanted matching color, but no paint on the headstock because it's got this cool kind of a figurey feature stuff happening there. Yeah.
Yep. And what pickups? DiMarzio
P&J setup.
P&Js. Yeah, I think that's kind of their super distortion bass pickups.
Yes, Doug, yours does have a comfort contour in the back and the top.
Yep. This one does have it on the front.
So see, you get both comfort contours for extra comfort.
Yeah.
Okay. Why so many frets? Great question. I don't have an answer.
Because that's the way they were ordered.
How wide is the nut? I think these are 1 5/8 because I think that the J base nut width is an abomination and an atrocity.
I don't actually mind it.
I used to think that it was cool, and now I think that it is. Whoever has one is gonna they're gonna smoke a turd in hell for having that.
I don't play a lot of bass, but when I did play a lot of bass, I had a J bass, and I thought it was pretty neat. And then I got a P bass, and I thought it was way too big.
Oh, okay.
For a minute, and then I got used to it.
Yeah.
But it was like, good Lord.
How do you bend binding around the forearm contour? I'll give you one word: heat.
Gun.
Heat. Yeah.
Each give you a word.
Brian says too many frets. I couldn't agree more. So these have. So what are we waiting for? Some knobs, knobadoos. Doug's has a kill switch.
It does.
We're getting matching knobs, and these are actually en route to us right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully these will get boxed up and shipped out tomorrow. And yes, this is an arm carve. It is also lighting, but you will notice that there is in fact an arm carve there. You can see it right there. They both have them, and so we wrapped the binding around the arm carve, and the fabric was no big shake to get to bend like this. That was pretty easy. Dominique says not enough frets. Good gravy. Well, okay.
You're just encroaching on the guitar player's territory at that point.
At some point. Yeah. Okay. What else, Chris? What else is going on?
Well,
are they 20 or 21? These are
20.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that should be more. That should be 13 more than any bass player needs.
Yeah.
So we will not be revealing these tomorrow. We will be hopefully shipping these out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But do we have a reveal for tomorrow, Chris?
I believe we do. Yeah.
What do we got?
Oh, top secret. Can't say.
Can't say. Sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there you go. And Doug Santaniello, if you're watching, we might show his thing off tomorrow. His Walnut Challenger.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Really, really, really close.
Okay.
So, yeah. But we'll have some other cool stuff tomorrow, too.
Awesome. Tom L says, should make a Nicky 6 model, no frets, and just an A string. Yeah, why not? I think Nicky 6 is a great bass player. I think he plays what the song needs and no more. I can't really, I don't particularly care for busy bass parts. That's just me. You guys, do what you like. Anyone who says they need more than 3 strings, kind of losing me. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm very, very glad to see these guys are done and ready to ship off. But I'm actually extra glad that you guys sat in and hung out with us tonight for our hour of power in between Flipside Music, the great American guitar store, and Dylan Talks Tone, the great American pickup winder. By the way, if you get Dylan pickups, you still get pickups made by the great American pickup winder, which I think is very, very cool. Now, his son is learning to make pickups, and I think his daughter is doing some of that stuff too. Is that right?
I think there was some talk of that.
Keeping it in the family. I think that's cool. One of my
there's learning to wind pickups and there's winding pickups.
Yeah, that's true.
It's one thing to, that's fun. You want to do a bunch? No,
not really. Okay. So we have a bunch of sponsors that Loring wants us to talk about, and the list is in no particular order. Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. Doug Santaniello is another sponsor of us. He says, I'll be drunk as I'm coming back from Orlando tomorrow during the reveal, but not driving. Good for you, Doug. Get a ride home from the airport, sir. Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. When Ike was here this week, did he say anything about the moving forward?
It's moving forward, but that's about it. That's all he said.
Okay, well, hopefully he's got some inroads into doing that stuff. Of course, Dylan from Dylan Talks Tone, Dylan Pickups. Link in the description below, guys. If you use that code, you get 10% off pickups. And if you really want to save some bucks, you can enter our $400 guitar building contest and get 40% off pickups from Dylan when we receive your entry fee. It's $100. And as soon as you send in the money and we get it, we give you the code to get 40% off from Dylan. And we give you the code to get $100 worth of free stuff from Steve at Maximum Guitar Works, another great sponsor of ours. Steve has been helping us out, and we've been helping him out. It's been a symbiotic relationship. We love Steve, and Steve is a super cool guy. In fact, Steve is going to be helping us with next for the $9,000 Strat workshop and a bunch of other stuff, because he's an O&M manufacturer for brands that just like Dylan is. So you can get in on that action. I would also like to thank John and Cheryl from Bitterroot Guitars. If you use code TXTOAST at checkout when you're at Bitterroot Guitars, you get 15% off your entire order. It doesn't cost you any more to use that code. And actually, we don't get any money from that. That's fine, but it's just the thing. A lot of the woods that we use for all of these projects that we have, whether it be workshops or custom built guitars, comes from our friends Dan and Calvin at Tonewood Experts. And if you use code Texas Toast 15, you get 15% off your order there. Again, we don't make any money off of that deal either, so it doesn't cost you any more to use that. What else is a way that you can? It doesn't cost you any more to use is our StuMac link. It doesn't cost you any more to use our StuMac link, but we get a little taste of that one. But so that's pretty cool. So guys, thank you for if you've got tools that you need from StuMac, please go to StuMac. Use our link. Don't use Dylan's, for God's sake. Don't use no. Use whatever you want, but if you use ours, we get a little taste of that. And StuMac has been providing us with tools since well before they sponsored Texas Toast Guitars. I'd also like to thank Brad Guitar Miller at Pedal to the Metal Guitars. If you sign up for the $400 guitar build, Brad will give you a discount on his loaded Telecaster control plates, which are very excellent. And of course, I would also like to thank Odyssey Beer Works, the great American Beer Works. You know what? I'm going over to Chris and Dina's house tomorrow.
Nice.
You want to come?
For a little basketball?
A little b-ball.
No.
B-ball?
No.
Okay. Game 4. Okay. And I think there's going to be some Odyssey beer there.
You think?
It's a good thing it's close to my place, because we would have to be, we might still Uber home. I don't know. And I'd also like to thank Nigel Forstner at Forstner Guitars.
No other choice.
Or we could ride bikes. Nigel Forstner from Forstner Guitars in Queensland, Australia. Check him out, because he's got, among other things, a very cool ebook that's excellent. Link in the description below. But he's also got the hemispherical fret and grinder thing that goes in your drill press. It is sweet. So I hope I didn't miss any questions while I was doing my thing here. It looks like I didn't, but anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're buddies with Phil McKnight, let him know that we like Phil a lot, and we hope that he calls us sometime soon. And we want to know what he would say to buy if you had $5,000 burning a hole in your pocket from Aunt Matilda, or whatever the old biddy's name was. Yeah, whatever the old broad.
That was her sister.
Okay, so she's also your aunt then. Yeah. Okay. All right, gang. So take it easy. Head over to Dylan's and hang out with him. He's going to be talking about a bunch of other stuff, including Knights Armament SR15s, but he really should be talking about LMTs and P90s with tapping a coil on a P90, which would be, I think, very, very cool. So, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for a reveal. Have a great night, everybody. We will talk to you in a few hours.